Welcome, guys. Could you guys please introduce yourself? You guys are PhD students here at USF. Tell us a little bit about what you guys do and all that.
Alright, so I'm Blanche. I am the president of the Brain-Computer Interface Club. I started my PhD this month, technically. And yeah, that's about it for me.
Alright, my name is Dante Tezza. I'm also a PhD student here. We all work on the Neural-Machine Interaction Lab, which is a research lab at the Computer Science Engineering Department. And yeah.
Right. My name is Denis Laesker. I'm a first-year PhD student from Brazil. And yeah, just like Dante said, we all work here at the Neural-Machine Interaction Lab.
So, this being the first brain drone race at USF, how did this all get started?
Alright, so the first ever brain drone race was held at University of Florida in 2016 when our lab advisor, Dr. Marvin Andujar, he was a PhD student. He made the first race. Now he's a faculty member here at the Computer Science Engineering Department, and he brought his research topic over. Once he became here, he founded the lab, and we continued doing brain drone research.
So you guys were saying that there's students that are representing so many different countries coming from all around the world. How many teams are competing? How many students are competing in this race?
So we have 16 students competing. So last week they went through qualifiers. We had about 20 or 25 students compete in qualifiers. Out of that, 16 students got selected, and they're going to be competing at the actual event on Saturday.
And they're from 8 different countries.
8 countries? Okay. And so is this like the finale, I guess you could say, or like the Super Bowl per se of the brain drone race? Okay.
You could say
that.
Yeah, we had quite a few participants coming on trying. We selected the 16 best times. During the qualifiers, they did on the game version, so they used the computer.
Okay.
We also have like a eSports version, but the final is going to be actually flying the physical drones.
Okay, that's what's up. That's really cool. So what inspired the creation of this new and innovative technology?
So brain-computer interfaces are used on many topics. Of course, everybody thinks already like medical, which is a great application, prosthetics, control wheelchairs, but we also wanted to create a universal sport. We want to create a sport where everybody can compete on the same level. It doesn't matter if you're male, female, it doesn't matter if you have any type of disabilities, it doesn't matter your body type, as long as you can focus, that's your main power. Brain power is the main thing on the universal sport.
Brain power is the main power. I really like that. That's really interesting because you wouldn't that you're connecting it as like a sport almost, but it's more of like a mental sport. So I find that really, really interesting. One question I specifically have is, so how do you guys train for something like this? How do you operate the drones? How does the technology work? Can you dive into a little bit of that?
Yeah, absolutely. So brain signals are very unique. So for every new pilot, you gotta create a profile, and you gotta teach the computer about your brain waves. So you record your brain signals during specific thoughts. For example, it's what we call motor imagery. I imagine some type of muscle movement. I imagine that I'm opening and closing my hands, or I imagine that I'm walking forward. And those signals are recorded. Using machine learning algorithms, we are able to detect when you rethink the same thought, and we decode that into game commands.
Interesting.
Yeah. Like when like a participant comes in, the first thing we do is like we train it in neutral mode, so the participant doesn't like think of anything. It's like pretty much steady, sort of like in meditation, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Like a baseline assessment, basically.
Yeah, and then after that is when you, like Dante was saying, you train it using like some sort of motor imagery. So it kind of like goes back to that, and it compares it to that, I guess.
Yep, and with time, it becomes a lot easier, because the more you do, the easier it becomes for you to focus. One example I always tell, I trained it on the eSports version, and I was doing great. And then when I went to fly the real drones, every time the drone would take off to fly, I would get so excited that I'm flying a drone with my brain, and I would lose focus and the drone would stop.
Really?
So with time, I was able to keep my focus even with the noise of the propellers.
Interesting.
So both that, you were able to focus better, but also the more you train, the more data the computer have about your brain, and you get the most accurate results from the software.
So you guys train through the eSports version, and that's how it picks up all of this mental imaging and all that kind of stuff, and then you guys use it for the actual drones for the races and stuff, so that's how you guys basically practice, per se?
Yeah.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay. So do you guys, so is it like a meditative process that you do? I know you were saying it's like you get that baseline assessment of like a meditative state. Is there any type of meditative practices that you guys do to help like strengthen the skills of maneuvering the planes, strengthening your focus, that kind of stuff?
I would say it was just about like how much you could concentrate. So when it comes to the commands that you have to like make the drone move forward and stuff like that, you need to think of some sort of like motor imagery, like we were saying earlier. So if you're like pushing something or walking and stuff like that. So how much can you focus into doing that particular action?
Right.
So just your concentration on that.
I do not personally meditate. However, there are some BCIs that are advertised for meditation. They're already in the market and can be purchased today.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's one of the devices we use on our studies. It's basically sold on Amazon already for meditation purposes. So you wear the BCI headset when you're meditating, and if you're calm, all you hear is like sound waves, like very low with little birds on the background. But if you start losing the meditation state, you start wandering your mind, it plays thunderstorms on the sound to
Interesting.
a feedback like, hey, you should be meditating, relax.
Right. So this was the difference between the passive and active that you were talking about?
Yeah, exactly. Active BCI, it's when you're actively controlling your thoughts to control a machine, a software, on our case drones. And passive BCI, you use the BCI to measure your mental state. You're not actively controlling your thoughts, however you have the BCI measuring, are you focused, are you relaxed, what's your workload, your attention levels, and you use that to adapt the application that you're using with.
Interesting. So, because I know you were saying that you don't really meditate, but I have like a heavy meditative practice. I've been meditating for about 45 minutes to an hour and a half a day for about 4 years now. And so I use binaural beats, the brainwaves, to help facilitate a deeper state from a meditative standpoint. Do you guys use binaural beats to help you guys be able to change the frequencies of your brain as you guys are using this process? Or do you guys use anything like that to help facilitate that? Do you think it would help, or do you think it wouldn't really make a difference, or what?
We haven't used it in the lab. We don't have it here. This type of BCI device, all you're doing is measuring the electrical activity. We have another headset that's called TDCS that's usually to enhance your motor image, like your motor. It's kind of like NFL players use, like to enhance your ability to do movements for 1 hour. You wear for 20 minutes and you feel enhanced for 1 hour, but that's about it, right? We haven't used it. No.
Interesting. Still, let's see here.
That's pretty cool. There's so many devices out there.
Yeah, there.
Seriously.
There's really. If you meditate, you should look into these devices. Call it the Muse.
I've seen advertisements for Muse, and I've definitely been really interested in it. Because you were saying it gives you biofeedback and kind of helps you correct your thought processes, right? So you were also talking about some like other applications for this. You said BCI technology, is that what it is?
Right.
Yeah. So you were saying something along the lines of like if someone's stressed out with their workload at work, then there could be a BCI feedback throughout the computer system or the program that tells to lessen the workload and stuff. So like what other applications for this BCI have you guys seen or that you see is upcoming within the next few years?
BCI definitely, it's a growing field.
Right.
There's a lot of research there. As I mentioned before, for medical applications, it's like unbelievable how much stuff we can do with it. For example, we can already type on the computer using BCI. It's called a P300, and you're able to type just with your brainwaves.
Interesting.
It's not as fast as using a keyboard at this stage, but we already took the first step, and we can do it. Eventually we'll get there. There's applications where you can use, like there's a lot of research on the automotive industry. Nissan, if I'm not mistaken, spent a lot of money on BCIs where they are using the BCI to detect an emergency situation to make the car stop faster than your muscles would be. So like get the little delay, that maybe half a second, to make the car brake fast. So if it detects that oh, there's an emergency, the car already stops. That's one example. We say here in the lab, we have the quantified self project, which it gives you a score for your attention levels. So let's say you're going to study, it gives you a score how much were you focused during your study section. Maybe if it detects that you're dropping too much your attention, it's time for you to take a break. That could be applied for work as well. If you're overworked, if your workload is really high, maybe it's time for you to take a half an hour, 15 minutes, go get a coffee or something. Yeah.
Or
Right,
even
also-
for like people with ADHD, yeah, that would be like a pretty useful application.
That's
Right.
really interesting. I never even thought about it for ADHD. Let's see
And
here.
there's also
Right. So, like going to that, people with ADHD, every person that has ADHD that has used the application has mentioned how they would want to purchase it because they would rather, exercise in that application of our simulation or just with the drone instead of having to rely on drugs all the time for their focus.
Right. So instead of using Adderall or whatever the case may be,
Right.
they're using brain training per se to be
Right.
able to help enhance their focus and
Yeah.
hone that in. That's really interesting because that's funny that whenever I listen to the binaural beats, whenever I do the meditative practices, stuff like that, I actually call it brain training. So like throughout the day, like whenever I'm sleeping, I listen to the delta waves to help facilitate REM sleep, or whenever I'm meditating, I listen to the alpha waves, or like when I'm in the gym, I'll do gamma waves, so I'm very present, I'm very in the moment. So I definitely notice a big difference whenever I'm using those, and I think that would really help whenever it comes to increasing the focus for you guys as if you guys are competing in there. So I don't know about that, but I think that would be something that would really help you guys with clarity of focus whenever you guys are going through this as well. So what effects have you guys seen as you guys have been using the brain training? Have you guys noticed it spread into other areas of your life, being able to focus more in, you guys have huge work studies and everything like that with school. So has that really helped you guys as well?
Oh, I can say, at least on my case, we're working so much in developing the application that I don't wear as much as I should to feel
That's
that.
true.
I definitely feel the difference on focusing. Like I was saying before, I couldn't fly the real drone, and with time I learned how to maintain the focus. So yeah, it helped me a little on that, but I definitely don't wear as much as I should just because I'm developing for it all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think for me it's more like I realize like how much I keep thinking about something in the back of my mind, even when like I'm trying to like calm down and not stress out.
Monkey
So-
brain jumps in. or something.
Yeah, sort of like that. So like when like I'm using the application and I see like not the drone but the virtual application, like the drone moving forward in that, and I'm trying to like clear my mind, right? But I realize that I'm not really good at it, so I need to like work on that, I guess.
That's why I think the binaural beats will really help you guys as well, because I've noticed so much clarity using that. So I don't know if that would help with the connection between the drones and the EEG, the wearable EEG technology or anything like that. But seriously, it's really been a game changer for me with my focus, with my clarity, with all that kind of stuff. So I think that would really help you guys. So do you guys think that... okay, different question. Is your focus... does the level of your focus change the rate of speed for the drones, that kind of stuff as well, or is there just like one standard speed? How does that work?
So yeah,
Because it's a race, obviously.
Right.
it's a race. So on this one, yes, the longer you are able to keep your focus, the faster the drone will move.
Exponentially, I'm assuming.
Not on this case, it's just linear.
Okay.
However, BCI is not easy to control at first. All participants never used the BCI before. And it takes time for the training phase. Due to those constraints, the speed is the only thing they're controlling on this race. They're not going to be controlling like turning, it's going to be taking off and try to move as fast as you can. And the reason why we do that is because we don't have time to train every participant. Because to train a single movement, take off and go forward, yes, we can do it with 5 minutes of training, maybe even less. But once we start adding, let's turn right, let's turn left, let's go up, let's go down, becomes weeks or even months of training. It becomes exponentially harder.
Right.
It really does. It's also dependent on what device you're using. We have devices on the lab ranging from $100 to $20,000.
Right.
But the one we're going to be using is a consumer grade device you can buy, like for example, on Amazon. And the reason why we use this, it's because people are not going to buy a $20,000 research grade, medical grade device to fly drones at home. So we want to get to a point that this is almost as accurate as a medical grade device. So people can actually buy a bundle. All right, I'm going to fly drones with my brain at home, and it's not going to cost thousands of dollars. It's accessible by everybody.
Right. So it'll be, as the technology continues to evolve, the price will be going down. It'll be more of a consumer product, you guys saying?
There are consumer products already.
At that level.
Oh, it already is? Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Do you guys see this sport getting as big as, obviously eSports has been blowing up like crazy lately, the Super Bowl just passed. Do you see it getting up to that level where it's really like a globally recognized sport where there's different countries that are like competing against each other in that kind of arena? Because I know that there was some like actual like remote controlled drone races that I think it was in Japan the last time I did some research.
Was there one in Orlando? Was that
It's actually a big sport. I'm a drone racer.
Yeah.
It's big.
Yeah.
It's all over the world now. It's growing a lot. So it is a big sport already. And yes, at least I believe brain drone race will be big because it's accessible by everybody. Like we were saying before, the universal sport, everybody can compete on the same level.
Right.
So that gives so much potential for the sport. Saying that, our lab director founded the Brain Drone Racing League, which will be a league where universities can join, host their races like we are doing here at USF, and then we have the championships among the different universities too. So the Brain Drone Racing League already exists as well.
Interesting. So do you think that like in the same way that there's college football and there's NFL, there's going to be like the NFL per se of like the brain drone racing? I know you guys have the, you were saying that there's the globally recognized drone, like regular drone races, but do you think that's going to take over the like regular remote control drone races?
I wouldn't say take over, but maybe the
Two
side by side.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Side by side,
Gotcha.
I believe so. That's our goal is.
And
Or even
again,
like
the biggest
for-
difference is just that it's inclusive of everyone.
Right.
Right. Whereas a regular drone race, you would have to use a remote controller for that.
Like Stephen Hawking, rest in peace, but he would be able to compete in this and probably be able to spank anybody else.
You would probably win.
Indeed.
As opposed to like LeBron James if he was trying to do it, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter about the physicality of it.
It doesn't matter. That's the beauty of this sport.
Exactly.
That's the beauty of this sport. Like, yeah.
That's interesting. So the way I kind of relate it is, it's almost as if the speed, the direction, the maneuverability, the handling of the drone is in direct proportion to the strength per se of your ability to focus. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree.
I think so.
There are other factors that plays as well. So it's still an open research question to find out why BCIs are easier for some people to control machines with it than others. We don't have an answer yet. It might be genetics, it might be like different aspects.
So some people have more of like an aptitude per se to pick it up and just be able to
Yes,
focus on it and fly the drones?
absolutely. But yes, it is proportional to your ability to focus and other factors that we don't know yet why some people have the aptitude to do it right away and some people struggle a little more at the beginning.